Greetings all. Welcome to Aquarian Diary. I'm your host, John Irving. It is August 10th, 2024. Today's topic is objectification for fun and profit. Let's define what objectification, or to objectify, means. Typically, when we're talking about people, it is the idea that we view other people as objects instead of as human beings. We objectify them. This usually implies a lack of empathy or compassion when viewing the subject or person in question. Of course, the Olympics are occurring right now in Paris, and I'm not following those events very closely, but I do read the news and check the media regularly, and I see a lot of photographs relating to the Olympics. So even though I haven't really been following these events closely, I've seen a lot of imagery. And one of the things that kept jumping out at me was how many of the outfits that the women athletes wear seem to be unreasonably skimpy compared to what male athletes wear. Like, it really jumps out at you. And just to be clear, I'm not prudish or conservative when it comes to sexuality. I think consenting adults should just do whatever they want. I couldn't care less. But still, to me, it seems quite self-evident that athletes should wear whatever makes them feel comfortable and allows them to perform to their maximum capabilities when they're competing. And many of the outfits that the women wear seem to be excessively revealing and unnecessarily so, which of course leads me to think that it is part of a marketing strategy to attract more attention. And if I was a woman, I would find that extremely insulting. In fact, I think that whether it's the Olympic Committee or sports federations or whoever is responsible for these kinds of decisions should have their heads whacked for doing this, and I can't believe that women put up with it. It really bothers me because it is this objectification of women on a mass scale, because this is being viewed around the world. And of course, this perpetuates and attempts to benefit from these old school stereotypes about gender and gender roles. Again, if I was a woman, I would be outraged. And the clowns that are doing this to these professional athletes who work really hard to go there and win should be held accountable because they're jerks, most likely jerks. But this kind of objectification of other human beings extends into many areas of our lives. There are whole industries that are focused on talking about things like celebrities and pursuing and exposing every detail of their personal lives that you can possibly imagine. And I've always felt that that is really improper, that it is none of our business what other people do in their personal lives, unless people want to make that information publicly available. We should basically treat celebrities or people who have some kind of high status in society or high visibility. They should be treated just like everybody else. So celebrity culture and celebrity worship and celebrity obsession has always irked me. It's a weird kind of twisted voyeurism. This also occurs even in the spiritual community, where we have a lot of people who do readings of all different kinds, psychic readings, tarot readings, astrology readings, on people who have a high profile. And I think the same thing kind of applies there. There's a whole industry, basically, of people who read other people and try and suss out their personal lives or talk about their afterlife or whatever it is. And I find that equally objectionable. I think it's immoral and unethical because we are breaching other people's privacy, and we are using this as entertainment to satisfy our curiosity or to distract us from our lives or to live vicariously through other people's existences. None of that is good or healthy as far as I'm concerned. I really don't understand why people are so fascinated by other people's lives. Yes, certain political figures or industrialists or plutocrats or billionaires have outsized effects or influence on us and society, but they still have a right to their privacy. And when we invade their privacy, we are breaching their free will. Therefore, like I said, it is immoral and unethical. Many of these people did not give us explicit permission to do this, to spy on them effectively, or to invade their space energetically, psychically, and so on. This is why I personally do not do readings on other people without their permission. I've done that only on a couple of occasions, and even then it still never sits quite right with me. In more advanced societies, even criminals have certain rights. They have a right to defend themselves against charges, and even convicts have rights. There are certain inalienable rights that every human being possesses, and one of them is privacy. Yet other people will exploit their privacy without their consent for entertainment and profit. And some people actually make a living doing this. And let's be clear, there are all kinds of beings on the astral level that are no more evolved than your crazy uncle. So just because things come through psychically doesn't mean that they're coming from a high place or that they have high intentions. There are all kinds of trickster spirits that mess with us just because they're bored. Some people believe that gossip amounts to a form of psychic or spiritual attack. When other people speak harmfully or negatively or project negative thought forms at other people, it actually causes the subject harm. I have certainly suffered from other people being, for example, angry at me, so this may not be as far-fetched as it sounds. I had a very powerful experience in my early 20s. I can be very psychic. I had an experience where I was able to project my consciousness into the body of somebody else. I just did this spontaneously out of curiosity. And sure enough, I was able to do it. I had the experience of being inside somebody else's body momentarily, because as soon as I succeeded in doing this and felt that, I instantly knew that it was terribly wrong, and I retracted my energy instantly. And I said to myself, I will never do that again. That is wrong. I didn't have permission to do that. When it happened, I wasn't even sure I could do it. So it was a bit of an experiment. But I immediately knew that that was wrong for me to do that. And like I said, I have never done that again, and I never will. It's similar when we're doing readings on other people. What's the difference? Just degrees, right? So I take this whole thing about objectifying other people for fun, in other words, entertainment, or profit, or in other words, I'm going to be like a spiritual paparazzi spying on other people and making money from it. I think the whole thing is quite vulgar. And yet, I'm not aware of anybody else who's ever even said this before. Many of the things I talk about are absolutely true, but they're not very popular because they contradict the dominant narrative, common practices, and people just haven't really taken the time to think these things through and contemplate the implications of these ideas. As we move more into the age of Aquarius, as I have talked a lot about before, we're going to become increasingly psychic, and we'll be experiencing things like telepathy. I experience those kinds of things now on almost a daily basis, but I don't do that with people I don't really have permission to do that with. I constrain myself. This is the Saturn principle in effect. I do not want to accumulate negative karma. Therefore, there are certain things that I simply do not do, and there are certain things that I do not condone. And to some degree, I could even argue that when we're listening to other people do these kinds of things, we are tacitly endorsing it or condoning it. So I know this does not sound like fun or I'm a buzzkill, but if you're a more advanced spiritual being, you probably already think about these kinds of things. And if this topic hasn't crossed your mind before, it might be something that you want to contemplate. It all comes back to the fundamental notion of do unto others as you would have them do unto you, which to me is a golden rule. For more detail, check the episode description for other episodes or articles that are related or that I mentioned. And if you're interested in a reading with me, I'll put a link to that as well. I have a 15% off special on currently. Many sincere thanks to everyone who supports me, especially my YouTube members and astrology clients. Thank you very much. Take care, all the best, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.